one thing that bothers me is the hand again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has better proportions, but I'm kind of losing where's what.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm guessing there is no fist or hand anymore. It's just this robotic part that has the knife edge.
Mm-hmm.
Skin does create Fresnel effect as well, so you have a little bit of that highlight here.
Okay.
And that already helps to get you to understand.
Yeah, it pushes the form.
Like what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it gives you that information. I like that you tried, the highlights here. Maybe they are too hot compared to like almost zero highlights on the head itself,
Mm-hmm.
So that's again like a minor thing to pay attention to, but it like the way it integrates now,
it'll add
slightly better.
Yeah.
So, and everything else would be pretty much the same notes, and yeah, it's just the integration of textures, paying attention to Fresnel effect, paying attention to where the reflections on the textures are coming from, and making sure that they're coming from the same directions, that they are not scattered all over. Because the worst thing that can happen is when you have a shiny jacket like this with the shiny parts, and each part of the photo you paste in has a light coming from different directions, that's going to look wrong. And paying attention to reflections. I guess that's the biggest takeaway, paying attention to reflections and how light will react. The sharpness between, like, it's actually better here. Right here.
Yeah, I was telling you.
You kind of have it solved.
Still at the jacket.
But like when you look at those wires here, for instance, you can clearly see it's just like your brush stroke, and then you have some texture pasted over. You have to pay attention to that, the fact that it will do reflect as well. This is reflecting on the edges as well, and probably unless it's like really tight together, it would have like a break-ins here. So you actually can tell that those are the wires,
Okay.
So, and like if there's a wire here, it would actually cast a shadow on this wire. So it's like a lot of small things to pay attention to, but they can make or break the way everything looks,
Yeah.
So there is a lot of back and forth with lighting, paying attention where the light direction is coming from, paying attention how it's going to reflect on surfaces, which surface is reflective, which isn't, which has sharp reflections. Like for instance, when you do a skin, you could even go as far as making even sharper reflections. It depends on the skin, each skin is different. Or even like on the goggles, like the reflection could be really sharp, and really, really strong. So paying attention to that. So like the jacket has sharp reflections. Maybe the skin could have like a softer reflection. So this is roughness, how scattered the reflection is and how blurred out the reflection is. That's the roughness of the reflection. File structure, avoiding hundreds of layers, because this is going to be a nightmare for you to edit. Because imagine like you send this to a client, and he likes it to a point where you don't have to do any extra work in terms of like doing 3D or more sketches or anything. You just say like, finish this painting. Then you spend like half an hour to even just go through those layers just to kind of figure out, what am I doing here?
Sure.
I need to fix that, because then you have like this extra layers here where you're changing, perspective, like you're actually zooming in a little more, and like all those things affect everything you do. So even like when you overpaint, you see like it's not aligning anymore because this is more zoomed than this, So pay attention to those things. Group layers where possible. Merge. Whenever you're happy with how the layers are looking, merge it, because you're saving yourself time from browsing later on,
Okay.
So
do you keep your background
separate
from your foreground or your main?
Always. I try to whenever I have almost like hero elements or any elements that I know that might be required to be changed, especially background and foreground. When you have a character and then you have a background, I try to keep it separate. Again, might have been guilty of doing the same mistakes as you're doing here many times, and I actually do it quite often. But there's always a good reminder to have, because you'll find yourself doing edits, and when you have to do edits, it's going to be horrible to go through all the layers.